As the world stands at the threshold of its worst humanitarian crisis recorded in history, about 60 million refugees and displaced persons are trapped in this unfortunate reality, with women and children becoming more vulnerable. But what's more worrisome is the rising cases of the disappeared. Recently, the world marked its International Day of the Disappeared, as the Nigerian government faces a most enduring rescue mission of the missing Chibok girls. While human rights movements continue to mount emotional appeal globally, how would posterity place the Nigerian story with over 2,000 requests for the missing persons? It's question time. Welcome to the program. I'm Benga Ashiru. You may also join in this conversation by sending us your comments on our various social media platforms showing on your screen. The Nigerian Red Cross Society raises a desperate alarm on the increasing number of the disappeared. Many are yet to be located and reunited to their loved ones. The trauma of these victims and the humanitarian lifeline from intervention agencies comes under close watch. Now we join the Acting Secretary General of the Nigerian Red Cross Society, Adeyemo Andrionicus, in this exclusive interview. Mr. Adeyemo Andrionicus, thank you for joining us on this episode of Question Time.
Thank you so much.
Now let's look at the recent International Day for the Disappeared that was celebrated recently. And how relevant would you say this is to the Nigerian context?
Yes, it's more relevant given our contents, what is going on in the Northeast and the Niger Delta areas of Nigeria. International disappearance of people is the least reported of all the humanitarian challenges. You can imagine someone, your loved ones, you have not heard any story that is dead or is being killed now for months, weeks, years, you cannot see. Not even an iota of information about him or her. So how will you feel? So it's so much excruciating, inflicting pain, is hurtful, and people tend not to focus that area, but is the most, because it inflicts psychological pain, which is invisible and can also lead to a number of issues.
Now, when you talk of the disappeared, how would you relate this to the captives and the situation in the northeastern Nigeria?
The sum total tends to, when you aggregate it, it's still missing, because you never know the circumstance that led to the disappearance of those people. Now, missing, disappeared, captured, held hostage. So these are all related terms to the International Day for the disappeared.
Now, reviewing the UN focus of the indifference to this humanitarian tragedy as described by the United Nations, how would you describe the attitude of the Nigerian government relating to this disappeared or the captives of emergency situations in Nigeria?
Attitude is different than having the wherewithal, the political will, and the means is another issue. Now, we have the right attitude, because no one will want his word, relations, loved ones to be missing without being concerned. But then, do we have the right technology to drive the process so that once this thing happens, people can easily be tracked, get the coordinates, mobilize forces to track down the perpetrators? But for us, we have the right attitude and willingness is there. Then it also depends on the government, whether they have the political will, whether they believe in it or not, and whether they have the right means.
Now, reviewing the UN focus on this International Day for the Disappeared, with the focus on the indifference of our society to this humanitarian tragedy as described by the United Nations. Would you say the Nigerian government or the Nigerian society at large has the right attitude to this disappeared?
Yes, you have seen that it has even been the campaign slogan, and it's part of the campaign promises made. And there is political will, there is right attitude, and they have made huge successes. You can see the liberated communities now from the enclaves of Boko Haram. A number of communities that were held hostage were let loose.
Now, what are the facts when we talk about the disappeared, so we can understand how important this is to the Nigerian society in terms of the number of requests made, the number of those located, and in terms of also those that have been reunited to their families, and also those that are malnourished. What are the facts so far?
Yes, talking of the displacement, coordinated by NEMA, IOM, and Red Cross, which IOM has really helped a lot, and Nigerian Red Cross is part of the program, supplying volunteers and staff. The last figure was, if it has not changed, was 2.1 million displaced, and I still believe it is still 2.1 million displaced, but majority are based in the northeastern part of Nigeria. And concerning the number of missing persons, the total number, we don't have the database yet. One of the lead agencies that has to do with this, National Human Rights Commission, has been in the forefront, bringing together stakeholders to establish national database of missing persons. So until that is achieved, no single organization can say this is the number. We don't have it yet because there is no database.
What do you make of the report that has it that about 2,300 requests have been made for the disappeared?
These are just aggregate data taken from camps. Red Cross has its own. Other agencies have their own, Ministry of Women Affairs, federal and state levels, and all other humanitarian agencies. So, but it has not been brought together. So I wouldn't know what led to that, or from where did they get they got that data from. I did not know. I'm not aware of that.
We understand that the federal government is creating a technical committee to create a strong database. Is this a step in the right direction?
Yes, it has capacity, though it may not solve 100%, but at least let us start somewhere. Having a faulty plan is better than no plan at all. So that's the way I see it. And it's going to tremendously solve a lot of issues, because these are things that people will be able to get the database, get the pictures, the names, the locations, where they disappear from, so the last contact with them. So if we can collate, have database of 70 to 90% of missing persons, then we must have done we must have done a lot of things in that regard, and we can really move forward from there.
You may also join in this conversation by sending us your comments on our various social media platforms showing on your screen. Coming up on Question Time, what measures are being put in place for forensic data analysis with respect to disappeared persons? Find out from the Acting Secretary General of the Nigerian Red Cross Society when we return.